Hello and welcome to Tonic Studios. I'm Leo, I'm here today with Alison, and we're back with another Tonic Tuesday for you, where we bring you tips, techniques and tutorials, and today we're talking all about papercraft storage. So today is all about papercraft storage, probably one of the biggest things that we ever get questions about. How do you store this? How do you store that? Where do you put this? And so many different solutions, and we're going to try and talk you through as many as we have thought of, and a lot of the ideas that we have been given from our design team and people on our Facebook group as well. So hopefully you'll find this very useful. As always, if you have any questions or comments as we're going along, pop them into the comment section below and we'll come back and answer them for you afterwards. So where do we start? Why would
This is a huge topic, isn't it?
Why would we want to organise and store our craft supplies? And
well, why did you want to organise us? Karen and I were so busy before Leo started that tidying up and organising everything was just the bottom of the list, because it was just and next, and then Leo came in.
I think you kind of put yourself down in that though. A lot of what happens in the craft room is people come in with something like, would you like this? And you can't say no.
Yeah, we don't say no to anything.
You go, yeah, I'll have that. And then it just goes nearest shelf, nearest drawer, nearest cupboard. Yeah.
That is so true. And then Leo came, and Leo's a big organisation fan. And
that's one way of putting it. That's the
she kind of organised us. So we are going to share some of the tips that we've learned, and that we is me and Karen, not Leo. Leo's already got the tips. Karen and I have learned from Leo, so we thought we'd share with you so you can have a lovely craft room as well.
That's the theory. Anyway.
That's it, isn't it?
I'd like to say that my craft room at home is nothing like the craft room upstairs. It is the messiest place you've ever seen, and I am not taking any before pictures.
Oh dear.
But that's because I share it with my wife, and at the moment she keeps receiving boxes of things, and the boxes all end up on my side of the room.
How rude.
How rude.
Very.
Indeed. I'm very not happy about this.
Just publicly calling your wife out.
I did just do that.
You did.
So,
the first thing you need to do is think about the layout of your craft room. What space do you have? What supplies have you got? Have you got mountains upon mountains upon mountains of supplies? Do you need them all? That's the other question. Do you need them all?
Do you need to first go with the black bag? Or a charity or donation box, depending on what you've got?
Or a crafty friend.
Or a crafty friend, yeah. Do you know
what about a little
craft
craft group where you can share things? But that's the starting point for you. Think what you have, think of the room you have, and how you can look at it.
That's it. What do you have to store? Because you don't want to just go out and buy a load of storage and then find you get it home and it doesn't actually fit any of the stuff that you've got or the space that you have.
Exactly.
So yeah, have a look at what you've got, what you need first, and a very important part of this, future proof.
Yes.
Because probably you're going to add more supplies. So don't just buy to fit what you've got now. Yeah. Because if you're anything like us, you'll still have more stuff coming in.
Absolutely.
Very important, I think. So the reason that I think organising your craft supplies is important is that if you have a limited amount of time to craft, you don't want to spend half of that time trying to find the one die set or stamp set that you're looking for, because then you sit down and like, well, I've only got 10 minutes left now,
so I'm not going to make anything.
No, exactly. Whereas if you have everything stored neatly, it's filed, you know where everything is, you can just go to it, grab it and start.
Your time is more productive then. If you sell your crafts, you've got more time to make your crafting items to sell. So
that's it. When we did the papercrafts to sell video, one of the things Karen and I said a lot was, your time is probably your most valuable resource. Yeah. It is really important.
And as well as that, you've got a member of the family that will come and knock the door and say, I need a card. I've got half an hour.
Can you just?
You can do it. You can do it then without that flummox. Oh gosh, I don't know where anything is. It's all there to hand. So
exactly. So also it keeps everything safe as well. So if you've got all your paper just say piled up on the floor next to you, probably close to hand and easy to access, but it's going to start getting wrinkled and damaged. You're going to end up with little dog-eared edges. Not the greatest way of storing it. Same with your dies, fairly precious commodity. You definitely don't want to ruin those. You don't want to accidentally stand on a die set walking in and out of your craft room.
No, you don't. You do not.
So keeping them stashed safely.
You don't want to lose bits.
Well, indeed. Lost a die.
That's me.
You definitely don't want to be doing that, do you, Al? Think about the conditions of your space as well. So you want to make sure that it's not too hot or too cold. We do have some issues upstairs. I think it's fairly safe to say.
We do.
One of the biggest walls that we have, the kind of freest edge, is an external wall. And during winter it has got quite cold. And we found that our drops were not very happy being sat there. So we're going to have to relocate them. So something to bear in mind, if you do have a room that gets, if you've got a conservatory, if you craft in the conservatory, it's going to get quite warm in there. You're probably going to have a lot of daylight, sunlight as well.
And it's going to be cold in the winter, possibly.
It's going to be cold in the winter, exactly. So try and have a think about ways that you can put things away, but still have them accessible, but they're out of the way of the sunlight and the extremes of temperature as well.
And that's any water-based product. Because if it's too hot, then they're going to evaporate. If it's too cold, they're just going to go hard. So you've got to think of a happy medium for them all. Try them in different places, see where they're happier.
Yeah.
So you need to keep what you're going to regularly use to hand. So what is the best thing for that?
There are lots and lots of options. But also, if you have everything organised neatly, it's going to save you from buying duplicates.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure we've all done that before. Gone, oh, that's a nice colour. I'll have one of those. And you get home and you find you've already got 3.
Yes,
because every time you've been to the shop, you go, oh, that's a nice colour. And you come home with one.
You do? Yes, I've done that.
Or die sets. I mean, if you buy a piece of ribbon, it's a less expensive mistake. If you buy duplicates of A4 die sets, slightly more expensive mistake.
Absolutely.
And it does look pretty on the shelf.
It does. I mean, let me stand out the way.
we kind of have prepared for this video, as you can see. We've
started putting stuff on our shelving unit. This is the traditional crafter storage, isn't
Absolutely.
it? We've all got something like
Comes in your crafting starter kit, and if you didn't get one, you probably want to go back to the...
But if you haven't got one of these, you've got a bookshelf or you've got something similar. And that's where our starting point has been. We've got everything neat and tidy. We can see where everything is. And it's to hand.
Yeah.
Shall we have a little look at what we started doing?
Yeah. So we gave you some behind the scenes sneak peeks of the very first thing we're going to talk about, which is our swatches.
It is.
And we had a lot of fun doing this. And it probably... made us find a lot of supplies that we didn't realise that we had, and colours that we didn't realise that we had.
And a lot of duplicates that we had.
Yes, there is also that. That's a nice colour, I'll just grab one of those. Yeah, already got 4. So we have swatch sheets available on our website. So I will put those into the description below for you so you can find them, but they are under the resources section on both the UK and the US website if you want to grab them. They come as A4 or... US letter size sheets, printable for you at home. We have cut ours down slightly just to make them more usable for us in the craft room.
We have. So we've got a sheet for everything, or a booklet rather, for everything. So we have embellishment mousse. Now all the colours have all been swatched. We've got some blank
all the
ones
colours that we have, yes.
that we didn't have, but maybe that we're going to get them later on. So we've left the space there, but they're all there. And I can pick, if I wanted a piece of paper and a mousse, whether I want a contrasting one or whether I want a similar one. This is our paper stock. We've made a tag of all the colours of paper.
And we should just preface this by saying this is still a work in progress.
It is. This is not finished. And it's all on a piece of baker's twine at the moment. So we've got more room on there to add more.
But far easier to do that than have to grab out a pack of A4 cardstock, grab your mousse and a spatula and swatch it somewhere and try and do that. You've already got it ready to hand.
you've got all your colours here. Use them. Use them to your advantage.
I love the fact these are portable as well. So if you do craft for friends and family, or if you make invitations for big events such as weddings and parties,
Yes.
instead of lugging, you know, your basket full of all of your A4 cardstock, you take your little ring,
You do.
you take your ribbon, you take your... Exactly, it's all labelled for you.
On the back, if I bring this in, we've printed on the back with the name, the type of card it is, and the order number. So we know when we need to restock, it's there. We go straight to the website, pop the number in, and up it'll come. So that's another little tip. So we had mousses, we had glacier paste, so we did all that. We had glitter drops. Look at the beautiful colours.
I love seeing these all laid out like this.
Do you know, we found colours that we really didn't realise how much we loved. But look at them, you've got them all there. All at one point.
Far easier to see, especially drops like this, than it is in the bottle.
The bottle
'cause they
doesn't
don't
look the same.
We found very much with the vintage drops that they dry darker than they look in the bottle. So they look quite pastel and kind of muted in the bottle, but they do dry very different.
Let's see if we can find one here, shall we?
Oh, now she's going.
This is a challenge. Well, if I bring two in.
Okay, and I'll see if I can find there's the vintage drops
There we are.
book.
So this one is, this is Bohemian Teal.
There we go. So that's that colour there. So hopefully on camera you can see there is a drastic difference
It
in
is darker.
bottle shade from swatch shade.
And this one is Pioneer Green.
Top there.
And that is a lot darker.
So it's very handy to have this as a resource for you.
Absolutely.
So like I said, we cut ours up. They do come as A4 or letter size sheets. We have cut ours into strips just because it's easier. We've got them actually hanging up in the craft room around the product that they are for. But you could put these into a ring binder.
You could.
Or some kind of folder. Oh, that was a fun one to do.
The mica mists. These look very different to the bottles as well.
They do.
And you can see exactly, I mean, that would match lovely with pink flambe. And you put as much or as little.
I think doing this is also a good way of remembering the finish of some of these things. Because you look at mica mist in the bottle and it looks just very highly pigmented. But when you spray it, it actually looks very different.
So we have those, we have stone drops, we have jewel drops. Jewel drops was another one because they're translucent. But some of them have got more colour than others. So I think that's a lovely one to look at. You know, the greys and the periwinkles are very, very pale. But the iceberg blue, the orange marmalade, there's a lot of colour in those. And it may be that's exactly what you're looking for. So we had stone drops, we had glimmer paste, we had sparkle sprays. Again, to show those, there's a lot of colour in these. Awful lot of colour. But they are beautiful.
So we have not kept up with these. We literally sat down and spent a week swatching everything we could find in the craft room.
We did.
It was great fun, but I would recommend that you keep up with your swatching. So as you buy something new, add your swatch in as soon as you get it. Oh, I mean, if you want to have a full week of swatching, then...
Oh, we loved
right
it
ahead,
though,
but
didn't we? It made you look at colours that you wouldn't normally use. And to put different things together, I think. You know, I wouldn't normally go towards mica sprays, but you look at some of them and you think, oh, they would look perfect with XYZ colours. We did ink pads. We did a little swatch of all the coloured ink pads. We did embossing powders. We went all the way through those, embossed a little square of them.
So for quite a few of these, we have actually swatched onto a separate piece of cardstock and cut it in, put it onto these, just because, especially with mica mist, trying to spray into an exact square.
Yes, it's not going to happen.
No.
Watercolour pencils. We went through the sets of those, popped a little colour of all of those on there. If you've got the pigmented pencils, they are the same colours. So if you did one swatch with them, then you would know that you've got the both then. Dream drops we did. Oh, we loved dream drops. The swirls. Oh, they were just lush. Then the next ones were shimmer powders, and again you can see the colour splits in these, which you're not going to see in the bottles. Look at that one, Lunar Rocket. That is beautiful.
You can see why this took us a week.
We've gone through everything. I can't wait to see your craft rooms with your take on this. Crystal drops, again, we did them all. They look amazing. These even say whether they're a glossy drop, a metallic drop, a clear. They tell you everything on them as well, which I think is marvellous.
And Cam, the cameraman, keeps these up to date, right?
Yes, I definitely try to.
He definitely tries to.
And then the last one is your glitter markers. And the colours on those are beautiful as well. And then last but not least, I'm going to move all these out the way. There is a colour chart for your alcohol markers. So, should you have something in the collection that you don't have any paper for, you can pop your crystal drop by your alcohol marker. You could colour the edge of a layer, and that is your card made. You've matched everything just by using these markers.
Perfect.
Love it. We printed that out as an A3.
We did, yes. So
to make it bigger.
Yeah, on A4 it's quite small. Karen said that she was not going to colour the tiny segments, so that was going to be. So we had to print that one on A3. So now we're on to storing dyes.
Right. This little tip is from Claire Rhodes Brandon. She did this years and years and years ago. Karen and I have envied her for doing it for years. Claire is very, very organised. She always knows where her dyes are. She has a little catalogue. So I started a catalogue. So I had a book and I wrote ABC right the way through. And I started cataloguing some dyes. So
I'm going to preface this by saying we don't use this upstairs because of the number of dyes we have. So we have filing cabinets because we simply couldn't have shelves big enough to hold enough ring binders to put all the dyes in them.
We couldn't.
So this is a medium solution. If you have a medium-sized craft collection, if you don't have a professional craft room,
we do have rather a lot.
One or two.
So I've labelled all these A, B, C, D, E, and this is folder 1. So what I've done, I've looked at the name of the die, and under it's called Whimsical Wheelbarrow Die Set. Oh, let's find it. Hang on. So under W, I've written it in pencil, so it's a little bit hard to see. I've written Whimsical Wheelbarrow, and it is folder 1A. So that is 1A for me. But also in there, you have flowers. So under F, I have got flowers, 1A. So it tells me that there's flowers in there. There's sprigs in there, there's leaves in there. So I think I've written it under leaves. And I've also put under L, bear with. Did I not do that? Well, I should have.
Should have done.
Leaves, 1A, it should have been. But what I would say, which I didn't do, I would leave a few pages in between each of the letters. Especially the ones you think there's going to be a lot of. If it's X and Z and things like that, then I wouldn't worry about it. Q, we're not going to have that many. But the other letters, yes. Flowers, I think you need on a page on its own. Sentiments.
Sentiments. So happy birthday, for example. Probably you're going to have quite a few of those.
Absolutely.
So maybe have a page for happy birthday sentiments.
So I did the same with this set. This is number B, and this is the heart and hexagon box. So under H, I've written heart and hexagon split box 1B. But I've also looked at, there's a key and there's a lock in here. So let's hope I put it under them. There we are, key 1B. So if I want to make a card for an 18th or a 21st birthday, I know I've got a key in this set. I've also looked at the sentiments and I've catalogued those under the sentiment. I put it on the back this time because I knew there was going to be a lot. There's my leaves, they're on the back page. I thought I'd done that. So then we had Love You is in this set in 1B, and we had a lock 1B. And then you just carry on. So then we had our layered stars, so that comes under L, and then we have our flora and fauna. I've put that under F, but then I've gone through the set and looked at the butterfly. That's a B, but never mind.
Still comes under B.
Absolutely. The butterfly, the bee, the dragonfly, and I've labelled those in the book as well. The other thing you could do that I haven't done, and I think Claire did do, she photocopied every single die that was on this sheet, and she kept the photocopy in the pack with it. So she knew if she was missing a die, she knew what was missing, so she could look for it. And then we carried on then with a couple more. We had layered rings. That's still the same folder because it's still 1C. Then we had another die set, and again this has got sentiments, so I've labelled the sentiments. It's you, love you, and a 1D. And the same here, we had thank you in there, so we've done that. And that's as far as we got, really.
It's just really to give you an idea. I think it's something that we've talked about on Weekend Dozen in videos before. We wanted to actually show you how it would look in practice.
So you could put it under the name of the die set, boxes, layering die sets. You can put it under all these different headings where you know you're going to find that die. And then you'll know you go to your shelf, it's under folder 1, it's going to be number C. If I wanted a star, it's under number C, and I will go there straight away. So hopefully, Claire, you've inspired a lot of our crafters to organise their craft room.
So in terms of the storage that we have available for dies, obviously we have the large A4 ring binders that we've showed you already, and we do also have refills for those, so the wallets and the magnet sheets as well. You can buy those as a refill pack to go into your folders, but we also have the medium ring binders as well.
Talking about the large folder, it comes with 3 magnets and 3 folders. I probably wouldn't put any more than 6 in there.
I think that's isn't there a tag in the side that
there
says...
should be.
There goes, that one there. So for the medium one, it says max inserts 8. So that one.
Let's have a check on the other one then. Make sure I'm giving the correct.
I think it is 6.
I think it's 6. But I will check because there will be one here. 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't go any heavier. If you have got some that you want to put in there, put them in a pocket, but don't attach it to your rings because obviously that's where all your weight is. Just slide it in the back, but don't attach it if you want to pop an extra one in. The smaller one then, obviously this is going to be your smaller die sets. Sentiments.
Yeah, so if you've got any single sentiments or any of those sort of smaller tag sets and things like that, they're going to be perfect in that one.
Perfect. Any Rococo dies you have, they come with your little silicone gel as well. So these have 6 inserts, I believe. Yeah, 6.
You're getting the nod from behind the camera, so yeah.
Do you know, it's so long since I've had to say about these. And you also got the 6 magnets. They're double-sided magnets. They will hold an awful lot. They are really sturdy magnetic sheets.
Perfect. They look great on the shelf, obviously. They're all nice and neat and uniform in the same size, but more importantly, they will keep your dies safe and secure.
They will.
They will be nice and safe on a magnetic sheet, firmly zipped away, so you're not going to lose anything.
No.
If you've just got the wallet on the shelf with nothing around it, there is a potential that something is going to fall out as you're moving it around.
Absolutely.
You definitely don't want that.
If you're not a fan of doing the cataloguing system, write on the side what you have in each of these folders. I mean, we've got a shelf full of them in the office.
I wish we could show you the craft room, but I don't think you'd want to see, well, you can't see a lot of what's up there, which is why we've had to bring a lot of things down with this.
And I labelled these, oh my gosh, they've been there years and years and years. And I stuck a sticky label on the outside because I didn't want to write on the sheet. I know, and it's stupid. But the sticky labels have faded now. But they are still there. And there must be about 40, I would say, of these small folders.
And we still go back to them now. So if we are looking for a layering circle, or we're looking for an alphabet die or something along those lines, we still refer back to what's on the spine. So it is very handy to have your dies catalogued in some way, whichever way works for you. And that's really the important thing about all of this.
It's got to work for you.
It's got to be finding your system and what works best for you.
When I used to make a lot of cards, I had a box on my desk. So you could have one of the storage boxes, and I kept in that the dies that I used all the time. So that was the smaller layering sets, sentiments, butterflies, flowers, leaves, anything like that that I knew I was going to be using on a regular basis. That was always on my desk. So you store the rest away and keep what you're using all the time.
It's a really good idea.
But don't forget, go back to these folders.
But if you didn't want to put them in a box, you could put them into one of the smaller binders and have that on your desk there.
Yeah.
You know, your everyday dies, you could even call it.
You could.
Very handy. So the last thing, talking about dies then, the last one, I'm going to just bring this in. This is actually from my desk. So, oh my goodness. This is my collection of stamp clubs. I have been, I mean,
this
not
is
bad
how organised you are.
I've only been here just over a year. I think I'm doing very well. So this is how I currently have stamp clubs stored. We don't currently sell in the UK, unfortunately, a binder that these will fit into. No idea on changes for that, nothing that is concrete. So I know in the US we do still have the designer choice wallets available, the A5. Excuse me. So they will fit into there. But if you wanted another way of storing them, this is one of our luxury storage trays, and I just have them in the little wallets all nicely in here, and I actually amalgamate mine. So your stamp club comes as a stamp wallet and then a die wallet, and I actually put mine together. So I've got stamps in the front, dies in the back. And they're just all in here. If you wanted to, you could put the dividers in here. So if you wanted to organise them, I don't know, by year, if you wanted to go like that. Or by topic, if you wanted to do like all of the floral ones together, all of the slightly more childlike ones you could put together, perhaps. The whimsical. But yeah, we do have the divider sheets as well that have stickers, so you could put them in between them. So it's another way of storing some of your smaller die sets. Obviously, like I said, this is stamp clubs. If you have the smaller sets, we've got those. I've got a couple of the adorables in the front as well. And I managed to acquire on my travels.
The other thing we haven't said about is your working dies. What if you're working and you need to, I think I need to open that this way. You've got to clear up, and perhaps you're crafting on the dining room table, but you still want to use this die set. What about, no, I was right. How silly of me. So this is an easel. If I turn that, it's a lovely little easel, and this is magnetic.
The whole thing.
The whole of the top sheet is magnetic. So this can sit on your desk. When you finish, you just close it up. It's like one of those big jigsaw mats.
It is a bit, yes. You know where you roll up your jigsaws when you're done? And brilliant. So while you are working, as you take your die off the paper, put it on the magnet, and then you know you're not going to accidentally throw it in the bin.
And you don't lose any then.
So that is storing your dies. Probably for most of us, the biggest chunk of our craft stash. So hopefully that has given you some hints and tips. If you have a different way of storing your dies, pop them in the comments.
Absolutely.
Throw us a photo over on our official Facebook group. I would love to see how you store yours. So next up then, we're going to talk about storing your tools and adhesive. Again, probably a fairly big category for a lot of us.
It is.
So these are things that you use all the time, probably, and you're going to want them close at hand. You don't want to be having to go halfway across the craft room to a drawer and then a box or in a cupboard, and you want them close by you.
You do.
And we've got a couple of different solutions that I think are going to be perfect for you for this.
And again, it depends on your budget, it depends on your space, it depends on where you craft as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one suits you best?
Yeah, if you have a permanent craft space, you can probably have something set up for there all the time. If you are in a dining room table that is actually a dining room table most of the time kind of crafter, then probably you need something that's going to be able to move out of the way at dinner time.
I mean, I think back to when I started paper crafting anyway. It was all in a shoebox. And then it went from the shoebox to one of those 3 drawers. You know, the plastic drawers that you pull out. Then it kind of went bigger than that again, so you get the big storage boxes.
Was mine.
Was
the
it?
The 3-tier IKEA trolley, that was my next step up from the shoebox.
And then it was just a huge craft room then.
Yes, then it was just a whole room.
Absolutely. So again, like we said to you earlier, consider what your workspace is. How much room have you got? What do you want from it? That's the other thing. What do you want? Because if it's going to stress you out, having to keep putting all this away in different places, you've got to think of something that works for you.
It's got to be an easy solution, I think.
Absolutely.
If you make it too complicated, you're not going to use it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So what have we got then?
So that's it. We've got, obviously we've got a couple of things here. We've got a couple of mugs, lovely Tonic mugs, if you've ever got one in one of our
Love a Tonic mug.
Mystery gifts or a freebie. So we've got all of our tools and scissors in one. If you have a space that you can put a pot or a mug or something and have all your tools in there, fantastic. They're all going to be easily grabbable. But you may not want to have something on your surface.
It may be you've only got that much space.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got pots,
no.
You've had it, haven't you?
Exactly.
We have
a solution. One of my favourite solutions ever, this is.
We use these every single day. Oh, hang on.
This is our actual, the craft room official storage solution.
Absolutely.
Move this out of the way for you.
So this is our table tidy. So if I turn it around, it's got 2 screws on the back that you just...
And what I like about these, they have nice wide jaws on them.
Yes.
So if you have a thicker surface, I know some people use like kitchen counter worktops instead of actual desks. You're still going to be able to fit this.
You've got that much space. Look at the amount. So just keep turning until it will sit on your counter. And then obviously I'm not going to tighten it up because I want you to be able to see what we've got in here.
So this is the main caddy. So I mean, it's a huge size. Would you say? Hold on, I'm curious now. Is it roughly? It's pretty much the same size of A4.
Yeah,
just
a little bit narrower. Yeah.
So it is quite a big space for storing a lot of different things. But it's not just the main caddy.
It's not.
No.
Then we have a double caddy. So this double caddy hooks on the side. That's it.
So you've just got these nice little hooks that go over the edge.
Oh, hang on, I'm on the thing. There we are. That's it. And you can slide it down then.
And obviously you can adjust this to the space you're available. So if you've got just a narrow space, you could maybe just add it at the front.
Yeah.
You can add it on both sides or one side. You can just keep going.
Up to you. So in there now, I could put my scissors. I've got my lots of scissors. I've got my spatula. I've got my paper creasers.
Nice.
I've got a pick, some tools, and they all fit in there nicely.
Perfect. And this is then going to be obviously at desk height next to you, so you can just grab and go. And this is exactly what I have next to me, and what Elle has next to her, and what Karen has next to her.
And I've had this since concept, and I haven't used anything else since. So push that on.
It does slightly click, doesn't it, when it goes over the bar?
It does. It hasn't gone over yet. No, it's not going to do it for me, but it does click, honest. So we always advise you, store your glue upside down. Yeah. We didn't say when we showed you the crystal drops either, they are all upside down. The reason is you keep the crystal drops where you want them to be used.
By keeping them in the nib, they're ready to go obviously as soon as you are, but also it means that the air isn't getting to the layer of product between the product coming out of the hole. If you store them the right way up, the air is all sat at the top of the bottle, and then if any of it does dry out, it's going to be that bit right by the nib, and then you're going to have to clean it out, which is what we had to do with a lot of ours.
Absolutely.
Do as we say, not as we do.
We've been there, we've done that. So we've got another one on the front. There we are, you can see that clipping on.
I guess just because it was in the way of
Possibly,
this.
possibly. So you can add, we weighed this once, and you can put 10 kilograms of weight.
Wow.
I would probably argue that one. We guarantee 10 kilograms of weight. But I think we
looking
probably
at what we've got in ours,
more.
We probably do. Yeah.
The only thing you need to keep checking is that your clamps are clamped onto your desk and they're not moving, because otherwise you could have a calamity and they'll all fall to the floor.
A craft lunch.
Absolutely. So in this one then we could have our pens, our pencils. In this one, what would we put in there?
You could separate these out. If you just wanted scissors
Yes.
in one, you could have like your craft picks and
Absolutely.
your paper creases and so on.
Your
in another one.
brushes.
Brushes,
Could have your brushes in there, whichever. What do we use this big one for then? Because this is a huge space.
We'll come back to what I use mine for shortly, but I also have in my other one. So I've actually got two. I've got one this side and one this side.
She's
I'm
very
quite
greedy.
I acquired them. But I have notebooks and things. I've got post-it notes. I've got stamp blocks, stamp cleaning solutions. So things, again, that I need regularly. I don't want to have to go rooting around in a drawer or in a cupboard for them. They're just around me, quickly grabbable. But yes, we will come back to the main caddy shortly.
Okay. So hopefully this has given you a couple of suggestions to clean up your craft room.
But I love the fact that it's just hanging off the side of your desk and is
you pick
right
it up
next
in
to
one
you.
go.
Yeah.
It just picks up.
Nice. So the other thing then is in terms of storing the rest of your adhesive, like I said, wet adhesive, store it upside down, so in a pot or something to keep all the product in the nib. But then you've got things like foam pads and tape. And the one thing I really hate, if you've got tape, now we've had these down here. If you've got tape that's been sat in a drawer and it starts to pick up, you know, like bits of paper
and
dust
they will
and stuff,
they will
all on the edge of it, because we don't keep it in the packet, do we? Let's be honest, we don't.
None of us do that. No. None of us.
So we have a plastic box here. This is just a little one that we had floating around in the craft room, but our A4 paper box would be perfect for this. And we've also got in here tissue tape, we've got glue sticks, we've got the sticks for our hot glue gun, and foam pads. So there's nothing worse, I think, than getting to a pack of foam pads and half of the backs have peeled off because, you know, they've been caught up in and amongst other things. So by keeping them all nice and safe in a box, they are not sticking to other things.
Yeah.
In the case of red line tape, things are not sticking to it, and you're keeping it there ready for when you need it.
There we are. Pop that one away.
Nice and dust free.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But if you don't have space for one of our table tidies and you need to keep tools handy, I think this is a lovely solution. And portable as well. So if you are someone who has a dining room / craft desk and you need to tidy up at the end of the day, our zipper pouches. So this is our pencil case size one, and we obviously have at the moment in here some blending brushes. You could put in your paper creaser, your craft pen.
Everything could go in.
All of that.
If you're doing a crop, that's perfect as well. Everything is kept safe. It's a really sturdy bag,
That's it, because there's kind of mesh within the plastic as well.
Yeah.
So it's not going anywhere.
No, not at all.
We do also have these in A4 size. So again, if you are doing a crop, or if you are someone who needs to tidy up your project at the end of the day, you can just put all of the pieces in, close the zip, and you know you're not going to lose anything until you can next come back to it.
Perhaps you've done half a project and you've had to clear everything away. It's there, isn't it?
All ready to go. Because there's nothing worse than knowing you've got all of your die cuts done, you come back and sit down to start crafting out, well, I'm missing 3.
Yeah.
And now I have to cut them again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
So yeah, zip them all away nice and neatly.
Absolutely.
So I also use DVD cases to store things in my craft room at home, especially because I don't have big shelves. I've got narrow bookshelves. They stack quite nicely and they all stand up nicely.
Idea.
So I have like my foam pads and things like that in DVD cases, just because it keeps them upright but clean and tidy, and I'm not taking up surface space.
Perfect.
Can you start naming your DVD cases like crafty puns after movies?
Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, if you've got any good crafty puns, especially for foam pads and embellishments, let me know. What about then your trimmers and your big tools?
Well, safety has to be the main thing for these, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. It
You know, don't believe in your guillotine with the arm halfway up. I've done that. I've done it. Don't do it. Put them safely on a shelf, away from children preferably, because you don't want little fingers under guillotines or trimmers or anything like that. And you know that they're good for going back to then when you next want to use them, don't
Exactly. And again, it's not something you want to be tripping over, walking in and out of the craft room. So the floor is probably not your best storage solution. Tempted though we are to just put things down next to us. And then you end up with like a halo, don't you, of craft supplies around.
Mine used to be push it across the desk until it kind of fell off the other side of the desk, and then I knew I had to clear up. But that's not good either. No, it's not good. So, our tangerine as well. That's another big tool. That's a considerable purchase as well.
Yes, it is. So we have ours up on a shelf here.
We have, it's all ready to go. We've put our plates on the shelf and they're flat. But what I would say is after you've used them, store them underneath your tangerine, because the weight of your tangerine then keeps everything flat. So you don't get those bowing plates as much. Keep turning your plates, obviously, but pop them under your machine when you're done with them.
Yeah, it's a very good way to store them, and it keeps them all together. You don't accidentally separate your machine and your plates and where did I put the plates? Where did they go? So what about storing your cardstock then?
That's a massive part, isn't it?
It is. So a couple of things you want to consider. You don't need to get dusty. I think if it is just out on a shelf, sometimes that can be a problem. Sun damage, is a big thing. We notice it even upstairs. We've got a tiny little skylight in our office, and even we notice on the edges of some of our piece of cardstock that we do have sun damage. And
they are not even underneath the window. They are over the other side of the room, but we still see it. And it is annoying, isn't it?
It is, very much so. Creased edges as well, so like, the corners starting to get a little bit dog-eared, or sometimes, depending on how you store your paper, I know a lot of people use magazine holders and things like that. And they are a good idea if they're full. So if you have paper from side to side that's going to hold it upright, fantastic. But if you only have it half full, that paper isn't going to stay like this. No. It's going to kind of do this.
It's going to be like a banana, isn't it?
It is. And then you're going to get a permanent crease in your cardstock, which is going to be very aggravating when you're trying to make card blanks with it or die cut with it. So probably not the best solution. Upstairs, again, we have our craft room standard, a slightly larger version, and we do store our paper like this. So we have it all sorted by colour, but our shelves are full. So our packets are not moving anywhere. Unless you have a lot of cardstock, probably not what we would recommend.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
When I crafted at home, I stored all my cardstock in boxes like this. And I kept them flat on my shelf. Got to admit, the shelf bowed after a while. But that was the shelf, not my cardstock.
Absolutely, it wasn't your cardstock's fault. No.
Solution: put cardstock on the shelf below it to hold the bowing up.
Oh, I had the whole lot.
Wedge it up.
Yes.
I see.
I had it all.
Just keep adding cards.
But if you haven't got enough card to fill one of these boxes, put a couple of colours in there.
Yeah, that's it. So you could divide them by finish if you've got a few, or you could do all of the red. So red pearl, red speciality, red classic, red mirror, whatever, all in one. Or do red and orange and yellow together.
Or even put all your classic card in one, your pearlescent card in another, your mirror card in another. You look at your collection and what have you got? That's what you need to look at here.
And these will stack nicely. They have the little dimples on them, so they will stack on the shelf for you. They're not going to slide and move around.
Not at all.
And the other thing I think, I do see people who store all of their cardstock flat like that, and I worry about taking a sheet out of the middle. Again, you're going to end up tearing it, perhaps.
You're going to pull, they're all going to come out with it.
Yeah, exactly. So
not good.
No,
not good.
Probably try and keep your cardstock in its pack if you can as well, because it will help to protect the edges a little bit more. Stop the dust getting to it, certainly.
And you know what colour it is. You've got the order number for the next time you want to order new stock. And it makes life easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. The storage pouches, again, would be great for storing cardstock in.
Absolutely.
And they will take quite a few packs.
Oh gosh, yes. Hang on,
let's test that.
Let's test, is that? There we are. So that's where you can see these little feet on the bottom. They just lock in. Right, I've wedged these in here now. So we'll pop them over there. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I've got a few loose sheets. So we'll pop the 8 packs in. And obviously, you know, these are still in their original packs. So they have the tabs on the top, which is still going to take up a little bit of room. There is loads of room in there for at least double that amount, I would say, if not more.
So yeah, tons of storage.
Absolutely. You're going to have a blast. And again, this is transferable if you're going to that crop. All your cardstock is safe. There is a 12 by 12 version. So if you've got those beautiful 12 by 12 papers, they're not cheap. So you don't want those being damaged. So keep them nice and safe. So we've brought our old storage back in again.
So scraps, I think probably the biggest craft room problem for a lot of us. How do you store your scraps? Now this is actually Karen's idea. I know, you're probably all very surprised. This is not my idea.
And it's a wonderful idea.
It is. So I have literally brought down my scrap pile. I would like to this is my scraps. Yes, they are scraps. They're larger scraps, but they are scraps, I promise you. So there are 2 ways of doing this. Oh, there's a little one. At home, I use one of the A4 storage boxes. I have that on my desk. All of my scraps go into it, and I make myself look through that before I'm allowed to go and get a fresh sheet from a packet.
You're very organised.
No, it's just because I keep cutting into new sheets. I need to stop that. It's a bad habit. But in the office, we all have one of these next to us. So the main caddy, and we have our scraps in the caddy. I actually need to turn this around so you can see. Oh, like so. So our scraps are in here, and these are actually in colour order. So I have all of my white cardstock. Hopefully you can see I've got all of my orange, and then pink, and then black, and then red, and green, and blue, and so on. So I know if I am looking for a piece of chili red, I'll go to the red section and I'll have a look first if I have some. Oh look, I've got practically a whole sheet in here. I don't need to go to the shelf and grab a new one. I've got plenty in there.
Because I only need a 2-inch square.
Exactly. And yes, this is Karen's idea. I'm going to give full credit to Karen.
But also, if you're putting all these scraps just into a box and they're all getting damaged, you're throwing money away, because each time you're cutting into a new piece of card. So your money is going in the bin. And we don't want that. We want you to be getting the more pennies in your pocket, so you can have more crafting stuff.
I'm just going to have a look at some of the smaller pieces. So I have, say, a piece of glitter card, like so. Just a little tiny strip. But if I just needed a piece to go behind, say, a sentiment or something like that, that would be the perfect size.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't need any more than that. I don't want to cut into a whole sheet of A4 just for a piece like that. So actually, let me just make sure it goes back in the right place. Back in with the oranges. So yeah, it's a really great way of keeping your scraps to hand and making sure that you actually use them as well. So hopefully that has given you lots of ideas for how to store all of your cardstock and paper supplies. Next up, we have Nouveau products. And not a big section in terms of what to do, but probably the products are all very different. There's no uniform size to any of these.
No, there's not.
So there's not going to be a one solution fits all. But that's okay. And I think
we can work around it.
We can. So drops, we've already slightly touched on this today. So we have 2 solutions for you in terms of drops. We have our stackable drop storage boxes, which my lovely assistant will grab in from the shelf.
There we are.
And these will fit any of our drops bottles. So in this one we've got vintage drops in the taller section, and I do have dream drops in here. They need to go in the lower of the 2 sections, so you can see they are actually staggered. The vintage drops are higher than the dream drops on here. In order to fit your dream drops in, they do need to go in the lower section, but I have stone drops in there as well. And then in this one we have 2 tiers of crystal drops. And as Al said, Karen has gone in and labelled every single one of these. These are some of our duplicate drops, just one or two of our duplicate drops that we had upstairs. So we've labelled all of these. I'll grab that off there. So you can see they all have their little dot on top with their name and their number. But these are, there's magnets in these, so they actually magnet on. Like so.
Perfect.
And they are stackable, so you can stack them up.
And you're keeping them all dust free and everything then. Just wipe the top down and you're ready to go.
And it stores them upside down for you. So again, this is how we recommend you store your drops. And it does this nicely for you, so all of the product is in the tip, ready to go. And once you've spent a week unblocking them all, you don't have to do it again.
Excellent.
Hopefully.
There's no shaking them all down ready.
No, exactly.
No digging out the hard.
So if you have just
the lid.
1 or 2 or 10 drops, that's a great solution for you. But obviously upstairs we don't have just 1 or 2 or even 10. We have quite a few more. So we have gone to our luxury storage trays. We have them divided by finish.
So we've got vintage in the front.
Yep.
We've got glitter in the centre and we've got jewel on the end.
And we're using the bars to hold them up because obviously we have turned these upside down. They do still have their gems on the end. So the bars are helping to hold them up. You can take the gems off the top of your bottles if you want to. You can see possibly that a couple of these are a bit lower where they have already had their gems hoofed off the lid.
They're not as pretty without their gems.
They're not, unfortunately. They're not Crystal Drops bottles without them, but it does help to store them a little bit easier for you if you can't use the drop storage or you have a few more drops and need a bigger solution. Next up then, so hopefully you can just about see where Al is. We do have our acrylic stands. And these are in stock in
UK.
These are currently available in the UK. As of the time we're recording, I know we don't have many left.
Look at this. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous.
Very pretty. So we do have a couple of these. As of the time of recording, we have a couple of these available in the UK. Can't guarantee they're going to be there for very long, and unfortunately they have been discontinued, so grab them while you can. But yeah, they're very handy if you only have a few supplies. They do fit pretty much everything that we've got here. So we've obviously got sparkle spray, shimmer powder, we've got embossing powder, we've got ink pads on here. I think we had some glitter accents on one of them. We've got mousses on there, we've got colouring pencils. You could put drops on here as well. Obviously, you would have to store them right way up, so not an ideal solution, but it is a solution if you need one.
And it keeps everything neat and tidy.
It does, and it looks very pretty.
It does. It does.
But if you can't get these, and I know that not everyone is going to be able to, we have a couple of other options for you. So you can fit your embossing powder in here. They will fit. You can put obviously your ink pads, your colouring pencils, your mousses will fit in here. I think you can stack 2 mousses high, I believe, up in here. So a great solution, and again, obviously, like we said, they are stackable on your shelf. You can stick a sticker on the front to say what's in it.
What's in there.
And that you could also use our luxury storage trays with the divider bars or the divider sheets.
These will stack as well.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't mentioned that today. So they will stack one on top of the other.
Yep, so you can stack those as well.
So you could pop a label on the front of that. Oh, that's not very sturdy, is it? That's better. That's better.
Mica mist, yes. So one thing that we would stress, we do recommend you store mica mist on the side. So hopefully you can see on that bottle all of the mica has settled on the side. Ideally you don't want to store these standing up because all the mica is going to settle where the straw is.
Yes.
And you don't want it to go up the straw because that's how you end up blocking that. So yeah, if you store it on the side and then gently swirl the bottle, don't shake it up and down because again that's going to shake the mica up the straw.
There we
just
are.
give it a gentle swirl.
And if I turn that,
all the mica is gone.
all the mica's gone. Can you see that? There's nothing stuck on the side. I haven't done any vigorous shaking at all.
No, just a gentle swirl.
Yeah.
So yeah, store those on this side. So this is perfect for that. And again, you can see obviously the colour that we've got in there. But yeah, these are brilliant. You can divide the things up with the divider bars or the sheets, the divider
Yeah.
sheets as well, and label them if you want to. And they'll work for basically any of your other supplies that you don't have an individual storage solution for, or say you've only got a couple of things, you can put them all together into one of those.
They're ideal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they make your craft room a little bit more uniform. Rather than having a bit of this and a bit of that, everything is in the same sort of storage then. Because all different, when you got all different lots, it can look a little bit messy, I think.
It's hard then as well to keep it as neat as well,
Yeah.
if it's all different shapes and sizes. So something definitely to bear in mind. So to wrap up then, a couple of, just to reiterate some of the points. So obviously everyone's space is different. Choose what works for you. Find a solution for the supplies that you have that's going to fit the shape and size of the products that you have, and also the space that you have. If you've got a narrow bookshelf, obviously choosing a big wide or cube storage tray isn't going to work for you. You're going to have to work with what you've got already. And also for how you craft. If you craft on the move, you're probably going to want more portable solutions.
Yeah.
If you have a permanent craft room, you're very lucky and privileged. But you can make your sort of setup more permanent. You can have things on the, attach the desk around you and so on. Maybe you've got some shelves up in front of you that have things on them. Maybe you've got a couple of these boxes on shelves.
Perfect.
Or one of the storage trays or something like that. Brilliant.
Lovely.
Don't aim for the Instagram aesthetic as well. I know that's a big thing. Everyone likes to show off their beautiful craft rooms. Don't be influenced by that. Don't think that just because you've seen someone with a craft room and they've got this exact storage that's necessarily going to work for you.
Are they using it?
That's the thing. They
Are
may
they
look
just-
pretty, but are they just staged to look like that? I think a nice looking craft room is one that's going to be functional and efficient, and everything is stored neatly and tidily but accessible as well.
It'd be nice even if you're just in a corner of your craft room.
Mm-hmm.
Pop a picture, do a before and after if you dare.
If you dare.
I'd
and
love
you should
to
dare.
see that.
I keep saying I'm going to, but I don't feel I can at the moment. Maybe if I move some of the boxes. Maybe.
I mean, you see little bits of our craft room upstairs. You see our paper storage. I mean, ours is big boards, isn't it? We've got like a bookcase where we store all our makes that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
So think of things like that as well. Some of your makes you keep. You don't give everything away.
No, exactly.
Where are you going to pop those as well?
Put them on display so people can see them.
Absolutely.
If you have any tips that you'd like to share on storage or creative solutions that you have, do put them in our Facebook group. So we are the official Tonic Studios Facebook group over on Facebook. That is a mouthful. It really is. An amazing crafty community though. We've had a lot of ideas recently from them. So thank you if you have shared your ideas already. We've been inspired by them. And I'm sure lots of the rest of the community have as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
We'd love to see how do you store yours?
But don't forget, tag us.
Absolutely. Across social media. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any of the new videos that we post, and also hit that little notification bell.
Ting.
And you'll be notified every time we post a Tonic tutorial or when we go live, because we do also do that.
And share us with your friends. Tell
Definitely.
them about us.
Yeah, if you have crafty friends, I'm sure they are also tearing their hair out trying to figure out storage solutions for their supplies.
Absolutely.
It's a very common problem amongst us all. There's no shame in it. We can all help each other.
And we have a crafty heart for everybody.
We do indeed.
We welcome everyone.
Thanks very much for joining us then on this Tonic tutorial, and we'll see you all again very soon. Happy crafting.
Bye.